I'm Abraham Rader, and I'm an atmospheric technician who isn't paid enough, has severe gambling problems, and received an offer from the syndicate to kill Kira Garnes, the head of personnel, and Mickey Mason, a medical doctor. Time to get to work. The head of personnel represents to me the bigger fish and the bigger challenge who should be dealt with first. Furthermore, you can count on knowing where the HOP will be at the beginning of the shift because lots of people will want to change their jobs. I visually confirmed that this was happening. I'm honestly a little intimidated by the situation, so I decide the proper approach is to pull a Travis Bickle, and I spawn a trusty 357 revolver outside the bridge using my syndicate PDA. I then go wait in line for a job change. I wait in line patiently with the intent of shooting Kira through the window when she gives me my new card. Classic plan. But head of security is on to me. I'm detained by the security officer in line. They search me and find the revolver, and the security officer takes me away. Now I'm in the brig. However, the thing about security and traitor ops is that being caught with a revolver isn't actually that severe of a crime. They're not entirely sure what my plan was with that revolver, and I hadn't done anything yet. So I get popped into the holding cell and have my PDA confiscated, and that's it for round 1. Both of my objectives remain alive. I'm in the penalty box for a solid 6 minutes. I converse with the Janny outside my cell, and the head of security starts pumping me for information regarding my objectives. But information is currency, and I request my PDA back as a concession, but the HOS won't budge. He tries to make some claims like I would have been executed for having a revolver, but I know my space law well enough to know that that wasn't likely, and that negotiation strategy dog won't hunt, so I say no. My sentence expires, and the head of security lets me out, but not before shaming me in front of the whole station. I'm a traitor without a PDA, a bird with broken wings. I find the Janny's pet lizard and I limit its freedom as though it were my prospects. I release the lizard into the wilds of the bar. I enjoy a meal in the kitchen because the chef went AWOL. I pass by some gray tiders in the medical lobby as I wander aimlessly like Kang. I see the security officer and the head of security outside the bridge. The doors were forced open and they're investigating. I lobby the head of security to ask the head of personnel to give me a replacement PDA. They just ignore me. Probably a wise decision. Where is that head of personnel? I pick up some wire, which could be useful for improvised assassination methods later. I come across the Titers again. A traitor atmospheric technician with no traitor gear can't make it alone in this cold, ice-boxy world, but maybe if I disguise myself as a gray Titer, I can blend into my environment, like camouflage. The problem, though, is that all the gray suits are gone. All I can do is grab a gray hat and a black jumpsuit, which is kind of like gray, only darker. I head over to the bridge. Maybe the head of personnel will show up. She does arrive, and I ask for a new PDA to lure her into my web of deceit. The head of personnel seemed agreeable, but really she wasn't having any of it. She beat my ass. Assassinating this officer will be quite the task. But I see the gray Titers again. Maybe one lone traitor can't take out a head of personnel, but maybe a mob of gray Titers could overwhelm her. But it was at that point I realized a special person joined the gray Tide as well. Mickey Mason, one of my assassination targets. Well, time to teach her that delinquency sometimes has its consequences. But of course with others around it wouldn't be such a straightforward manner. I would need to be strategic about this, like a coyote. Because you see, a coyote pretends to be a dog's friend in order to lure it into danger before striking. I would need to do something similar by not going full tilt right away. I begin sowing the seeds of discontent by telling the dirty truth about the head of personnel. It worked like a charm. The Titers persuaded the quartermaster to join the Tide as well. Things were heating up. We plan our raid and then set out. We start rioting and breaking the windows of the HOP office. A passerby cheers us on. We're doing the Lord's work. And sure enough, the HOP shows up. She quite wisely just runs, though. I try to guide the Tide towards her. We're breaking the HOP's door down at this point. Titers are getting shocked left and right trying to break in. A standoff forms between the Tide and security, and I shock myself trying to hack the door. The Titers instigate a fight with security by stealing a shield, and he charges right in with his stun baton. Of course, the sec officer gets wrecked and has his baton stolen and then flashes me, the mere observer of this confrontation. He then proceeds to receive a beatdown worthy of Grey Tide World Star. My MD assassination target starts trying to heal me. She needs to die by the end of the shift though, so I escalate my aggression towards her during the chaos. And then I start trying to weld torch her. The brawl concludes outside of logistics. The security guard seems to have had enough and we flee the scene. I patch myself up in the medical lobby as I watch the head of personnel walk on by. The Tide starts feasting to regain our strength. Just then a revenant appears. I know what's up and I bail away from the lights, because you see Revenant's attack by shocking anyone near a light fixture. Once again, I take the opportunity to knock my assassination target down. The Revenant, meanwhile, infects me with a disease and I swing wildly at it. I manage to hit it once before it disappears. I may be a traitor, but Revenants get the crowbar. Spooky stuff starts happening. We're trapped in the kitchen. The scrubbers begin siphoning our air. I jump out and begin fighting my tighter target again, but then I collapse from the sickness. I'm down with the sickness, and she starts shoving me into the trash. I'm given an exhaustive tour of the trash chute before popping out in maintenance outside the primary hallway. I follow the tide to medical. A chemist shoots me with a syringe gun. Am I a target? I pass out. I'm revived. I'm being operated on by the chief medical officer while my target is operating on a mime. I struggle to get up, but I need to wait for surgery to conclude. I meanwhile observe that my target is dying, possibly from the Revenant disease. I finally get up. I observe the situation closely, but I can't figure out how to unbuckle her from the stasis bed. However, when she arises, I attempt to put her in the trash. It doesn't go according to plan because she climbs right out. At this point, she pretty justifiably begins fist fighting me. It's an all-out rumble, and unfortunately gets broken up. Miggy is definitely aware that I'm bad news, and Marvin knows that I'm a traitor while trying to reason with me. But there's a contracted hit on that titer, and she's got to go at some point. She passes out again from whatever she's got. I patch myself up and suggest we do the humane thing and let her pass away. The de facto titer leader won't let it happen, and then a fire alarm gets tripped as we're exposed to CO2. I don't have an O2 tank, so I run. I snatch an O2 tank from the O2 supply cabinet in the departures hallway. I return to the medical room and see the air situation is still screwed up, and Miggy is incapacitated still. So I decide to try using my atmospheric technician credentials to do something devious via the air alarm, by which I mean to begin siphoning out all the air while she's still there. Choke her out. Plausible deniability. I start smacking out the grill and replace it with a new one to prevent an easy escape. Miggy is now sort of locked in the room with a draining air supply, but it's not exactly airtight, so I don't know how effective it will be. She can't break herself out because she doesn't have a crowbar, only a wrench. Somehow she gets out though. I follow them through the hallway looking for more opportunities. She has a mask on now, but I continue siphoning out the air wherever she goes, just because, I don't know, maybe it'll do something, somehow, through depressurization trauma. Furthermore, the chapel's creepy, some suicide. My target goes off for a beer, and I follow. If she gets isolated, it might be my chance to strike. I enter the bar. There's few people around, so I spring to action and attack. It's basically a feeble shoving match. But then she gets mad, rightfully so after all the prior antagonism. The circular saw comes out. She attacks me with it just as the bartender shows up. I disarm her, and we continue our scuffle until the bartender intervenes. And whose side does he take? Mine, of course. Blessed bartender. He goes even further and starts crowbarring Miggy, while the chemist shoots me with a syringe again. I join in with the stolen circular saw, and Miggy is soon done for. Wow. That was something. I try to drag her body away to hide it so no one revives her, but then I pass out myself. The bartender takes me back to medical bay to get me fixed up. Unfortunately, he also retrieves Miggy's corpse and takes it to medical. This could be bad if she gets revived. I unbuckle myself from the stasis bed. I tell the medical doctor a half-truth, which is in some ways worse than a full lie. That she attacked me, so I need to take her to the Brig for detainment upon revival. The medical doctor isn't entirely buying it, and follows me as I drag her corpse off. He shoves me a couple of times, and then I'm off scot-free. I briefly consider putting her in the trash for quick disposal, but then I realize dead people can still be tracked via their suit sensors. I grab the suit, and the suit goes into the trash, which will get dumped out who knows where. I then grab a locker and stuff her into it. I drop the locker off by the boxing ring and get rid of the suspiciously loose boxing gloves previously in the locker, and then leave the scene. It's now incredibly unlikely that she'll be found and revived, and that, dear audience, is how you accomplish an assassination objective without traitor gear. Next up is the head of personnel, who I'm not even sure will be alive at this point. I heard some sort of bio-alert alarm going on during this whole thing. Maybe it'd just be better to wait outside until the shuttle arrives. The HOP might be dead anyway, so all I have to do is survive. But now it turns out the air is contaminated with N2O. Well, I am a traitor, but I am also still an atmospheric technician, and I'm right here in atmospherics, so why not fix up the air filtering in a little bit. Get to work. Word to the wise when working around flammable gas. Your rapid pipe dispenser sparks every time you switch it to something new. Well, I'm pretty burnt up now. Let's see how it looks. Nope, that's a big nope. Now it's getting even worse. Alright, that's it. I'm leaving. Oh great, another fire up here. And departure's hallway is blocked off by fire as well. This entire station is a dang mess. How did it get to this point so quickly? Nope, not that way either. The bridge is completely on fire too, and I am too. I'm really spreading this fire everywhere on accident, but I managed to find an extinguisher to put myself out. Forget it, I just want out of this hell station. Great, I'm outside. It's safer here. All I have to do is stay here and wait for the escape shuttle. Just wait for the escape shuttle. Just wait. Oh, fuck. I just fell down a level. Alright, I gotta find a ladder back up now. Oh no. Is that a bear? What is that? A snowman? Oh god, it's biting me. Well, now I'm being bitten to death by a bunch of snowmen. It makes me wonder, was it all worth it in the end? The antagonizing of my assassination target? The fact that I probably came across like a huge griefer when really I was just playing with the intended game mechanics? Yes, worth it.